For more than 5 decades, Sam Elliott stood as a symbol of rugged Americana. With his gravelly voice, iconic mustache, and timeless presence, Elliott became synonymous with the strong, silent archetype, a cowboy not just in hat and boots, but in heart and soul. But even the strongest among us face the inevitable passage of time. In a surprising and emotional development, a final letter, penned by Elliott himself, has surfaced, addressed to the fans who stood by him through every stage of his career. It is a message filled with gratitude, pain, reflection, and grace. And it may mark the last public word from a Hollywood legend who always let his work speak louder than any headline. The man behind the voice born in Sacramento, California in 1944, Sam Elliott's journey to stardom was not immediate. He paid his dues with small television roles in the late 1960s and early 1970s before gradually making his way into the hearts of Americans. Whether as the loyal Gar in Mask, the brave Sergeant Major in We Were Soldiers, or the narrator cowboy. Hybrid in The Big Lebowski, Elliott brought a unique gravity to every performance. And in later years, his emotionally complex roles in A Star is Born and 1883 introduced him to new generations. But Sam Elliott was never just a screen presence. He was a storyteller, a craftsman, and above all else, a man who valued authenticity. Off-screen, he avoided the trappings of fame, preferring the solitude of his Oregon ranch and the companionship of his wife, actress Catherine Ross, and their daughter. He once said, "I never wanted to be a star. I just wanted to be a working actor who made a difference in the story." That humility is all over his final letter. The letter, a goodbye from the heart. The letter, which was handwritten and reportedly composed over several weeks, was released with Elliott's consent by his longtime publicist. Dated May 2025, the note is addressed simply, "To those who rode with me." To my dear friends out there, those who watched me, listened to me, and maybe even saw a part of themselves in me, I reckon it's time I said goodbye in my own words. What follows is a poignant blend of reminiscence, gratitude, and vulnerability. Elliott begins by acknowledging his health struggles, something he had previously kept private. For the better part of the past year, I've been fighting a battle I knew I wouldn't win. The doctors gave it a name, something Latin I can't pronounce, but I always figured time was the only real outlaw. It catches up with every man, even the ones who thought they could outrun it. Though the specific illness is never mentioned, sources close to the actor suggest that it may be a degenerative neurological disease. The actor's recent absence from public life, along with his noticeable weight loss in earlier 2025 photos, had led to speculation. Now, through his own words, Elliott confirms what many feared, but the letter is far from a lament. "I've had one hell of a ride. I made a living doing what I loved. I stood on sets that felt like sanctuaries, and I worked with people who were more like family than coworkers. I fell in love once and never had to do it again. I watched my daughter grow into a woman more beautiful and strong than I ever deserved to raise. If that ain't a full life, I don't know what is." Love, loss, and the end of the Trail Elliott. Also takes time to thank his wife, Catherine Ross, whom he married in 1984. The two shared a rare kind of bond in Hollywood, one built not on paparazzi moments or red carpet glitz, but on shared values and quiet strength. "Catherine, my partner. In every storm and sunrise, thank you for keeping me grounded, loved, and laughing even when the sky looked dark. You gave me the best years of my life, and I hope I gave you some worth remembering too." As he moves through his memories, Elliott reflects not just on his roles, but on the emotional costs of embodying them. He speaks candidly of the loneliness that often came with playing stoic, emotionally distant characters. "I reckon folks always saw me as a man who had all the answers. Truth is, I didn't. A lot of those cowboys I played were just mirrors for the parts of me I was still trying to figure out. Sometimes being silent on screen was easier than saying what needed to be said in real life." In one of the letter's most touching moments, he directly addresses his fans. "If you ever felt less alone watching me ride across a dusty screen, if I gave you comfort in some small way, then I reckon I did my job. You're the reason I lasted. This long, you're the ones who turned a long shot into a legacy. A farewell, not a surrender." Despite the somber tone, Elliott's signature stoicism and strength remain. He ends his letter not in despair, but in acceptance, and even with a touch of his dry wit. "Don't mourn me too hard. I ain't gone yet. And when I do go, I hope it's with boots on and the sky wide open. I never liked funerals anyhow. 2. Quiet. Remember me with a story, a laugh, or a good old western. Just promise me you won't forget how to ride tall and speak straight. That's all I ever tried to do. He signs the letter simply. Yours always on the trail, Sam. The world reacts. The release of the letter caused an outpouring of emotion online. Fellow actors, co-stars, and directors responded with tributes. Bradley Cooper, who worked with Elliott on A Star is Born, wrote, "There will never be another like him. His voice, yes, but also his heart. I was lucky to stand in his shadow." Taylor Sheridan, who directed him in 1883, posted simply, "He made silence louder than words." Fans flooded social media with quotes, clips, and personal anecdotes. One user tweeted, "Sam Elliott taught me what strength really looks like. Not violence or volume, just quiet honor." Film theaters in several Western states announced they would screen Tombstone and The Hero as free tributes to the actor. A group of motorcyclists in Montana organized a memorial ride, playing his narration from The Big Lebowski over portable speakers as they rolled through canyon roads. Legacy of a legend if this is the end for Sam Elliott's public life. He's chosen a way out that matches the man he's always been, unpretentious, honest, and deeply human. In an era of fame fueled by noise, Elliott always chose stillness. In a world chasing youth, he embraced age. And as many hid their struggles, he faced his with quiet resolve. His final letter will no doubt be preserved, quoted, and cherished by fans and scholars alike. It's more than a farewell. It's a blueprint for how to live and leave with dignity. Conclusion. The last word from the West Sam Elliott's letter is not just a goodbye. It's a reflection of an era slowly fading into the sunset. His words carry the dust of the trail, the weight of wisdom, and the tremble of a man who gave everything he had to the craft of storytelling. If this truly is his final message, it stands as one of the most beautiful parting gifts an artist has ever given to his audience. For the rest of us, we'll carry his voice in the rustle of the plains, in the echoes of movie halls, and in the heartbeats of characters who taught us what it means to be brave, gentle, and real. So here's to Sam Elliott, our cowboy, our narrator, our guide through the wild, rugged beauty of life. Yours always on the trail, Sam. For more than 5 decades, Sam Elliott stood as a symbol of rugged Americana. With his gravelly voice, iconic mustache, and timeless presence, Elliott became synonymous with the strong, silent archetype, a cowboy not just in hat and boots, but in heart and soul. But even the strongest among us face the inevitable passage of time. In a surprising and emotional development, a final letter, penned by Elliott himself, has surfaced, addressed to the fans who stood by him through every stage of his career. It is a message filled with gratitude, pain, reflection,